Hello, everyone, and Superhouse presents TwoFace February. It is, as of this recording date, 2/02/2020, which is the perfect day to talk about one of our favorite Batman villains, Two-Face. This is Ben Wan, the man who knows too much about Batman, and I'm here with my co-host,
Andrew, y'all. It's Palindrome Day.
Yes.
I can't wait to... It's already over.
By the time you guys listen to this, we will have been done. But it'll still be February by the time we release this.
Hopefully,
so
jeez.
It'll be... We've had a lot of episodes, yeah. So we will be launching this as a discussion into Two-Face. Not just any discussion, but a review specifically of the film Batman vs. Two-Face, the final movie where Adam West played the Dark Knight, the Caped Crusader, the Bright Knight.
Yes, the Bright Knight.
With William Shatner as Two-Face, which was inspired casting in my opinion. But
yeah,
this was the final animated movie released around 2017 or so. It was released posthumously after West had died.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And Andrew saw it for the first time today.
Correct.
And we are not only going to discuss that, because we don't just do reviews here in Superhouse, but we are also going to discuss how that this was the most successful attempt at trying to get the Two-Face character into the 60s era, but there were there were two attempts, sorry, it's Two-Face, not three, two attempts to get Two-Face into the 1966 show, and I have read those scripts, and we can go over those later.
That really blew my mind, because I never really thought about it, and I never saw all of the Batman 66 shows. I probably should at this point, but there are some that I have not seen, and just for me, Two-Face was always such an iconic villain. He's the original rogues gallery to me, you know.
Yeah.
And for him to not be in that iconic show, it's just so weird. I guess we'll get into the reasons. You'll regale me with the reasons of that, Ben, at some point very soon.
Yes, 1942 was when I just looked this up. 1942, just to verify, was when he came out. So that is 3 years after Batman debuted.
Early on.
Very original, before Riddler.
My theory is that he was too scary
may be right.
Batman 66.
You might be right.
So I guess we'll get into that.
We will. But first, let's go into
kids,
the only successful take in pairing Adam West against Two-Face, specifically at the Adam West of the 60s. 66 style type of thing. Now, this movie also co-stars Burt Ward and Julie Newmar, who thankfully are still with us, at least as of this recording, on here. So, you saw the movie today.
I did about 2 hours ago.
2 hours ago.
2 hours ago,
we timed this very well. So, your thoughts on Batman versus Two-Face?
General thoughts, it was good, actually surprisingly good. But I would say I think the first one's a little better.
I agree. I do like Return of the Caped Crusaders better out of the two, but this one is still a great. You know what this is? I realized it's a great movie and probably the best movie in terms of focusing solely on Two-Face.
That's true. It's probably the best Two-Face treatment in any of the movies, probably.
Yeah,
he's probably hasn't been in a whole lot of movies. Well, he's been in enough, I guess.
He's been in a lot, Batman Forever, Dark Knight, but this was like one where like there's not, because like sure we remember the version from the BTAS, but we don't necessarily think of him from any of the movie versions of that. He wasn't in Phantasm,
no,
Trial of the Joker, Mystery of the Batwoman, like none of those he showed up in. Or if he did show up, like when he's the dummy in Batman Beyond Return of the Joker where the Batarang beheads him.
Yes.
That's it. Like, there's nothing else in there. So it was about time, and I'm glad that they did this before Adam West died, because this is pretty much the last remaining Rogues Gallery villain that Batman needed to go up against.
As always, spoiler warning up top, everybody. We will spoil the ever-living shit out of this movie, so you've been warned, and that's about it. But before we get even deeper into it, the inspired casting. In my head, I've always kind of grouped, I mean, I know Batman and Captain Kirk are totally different, but they did run at the exact same time, 66 to 69. They're pop culture icons. They're old-ass white dudes with a certain way of talking, of line delivery. There's a lot similar about them, and it's just weird to me that they never teamed up in anything else.
You mean Shatner and West?
Yeah,
Yeah. No, this is great. There's only so much cheesy pausing you can handle, but it's great when you put them together.
Yeah. I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic. So William Shatner is Harvey Dent. Also, some other casting here. Thomas Lennon is Chief O'Hara. I don't know if I told you that last time. The guy from Reno 911.
I've actually never seen Reno 911.
Okay. Well, he was also in The Dark Knight Rises. He was the doctor, who told him, like, you have no cartilage in your knee.
Guy?
Yeah, that guy, yeah.
Okay, that brought me out of the movie when I saw that.
Yeah, same
because
here.
That guy, I knew he was a comedian.
Yeah.
And it was just so... It was just like, oh, what?
This guy's in it?
Nolan made this pick? Okay. Like, he was good, but it was just weird.
I think part of that's also because Thomas Lennon was in a previous... I think he was in a previous Nolan movie before that. That's probably why. And he was just like, come along and be part of this movie. He asked him. So that one was... What was the movie for that? He was in Memento. He was a doctor in Memento.
Oh, shit. Okay.
But that was like in 2000 when he wasn't known for being a comedian, so it didn't take anybody out of it.
Right.
I'm sure
so
today...
they've been friends for a while, huh?
Yeah. Like at the time that it was released, he wasn't known for it, and then when you look back, it's one of those like, oh, that guy's in this. Okay.
Yeah.
But by the time Dark Knight Rises, it's like he's already known for that, and then it's just kind of ruined it.
Did it take you out?
It took me out too. Yeah. I haven't seen the show either.
Yeah.
So we're in the same exact boat.
Yeah.
On that. Also, Lee Merriweather is in this. I don't know if you could tell. She plays Lucille Diamond. She's the one that Catwoman dresses up as Catwoman.
Yeah.
So that's a nice tribute to the other Catwoman who's still alive. I'm sure if Eartha Kitt were still alive at the time, they would have put her in this or found some way to put her into it too.
Right.
It's such a great way to just bring everybody back in.
Yes.
So other than that, those are the main things. Some nice surprises in here include the fact that we have a little cameo from Dr. Harleen Quinzel, so future Harlequin in the 66 realm.
That was pretty cool.
And we also have one of Andrew knows is one of my favorites, Professor Hugo Strange.
I was thinking about that the whole time I was watching it.
I
was
Ben
like, man,
love this.
Ben loves the shit out of this. You're the biggest Hugo Strange fan in the world. And by the way, it sucks that Marvel took away because he's a doctor.
He's the original Doctor
and his
Strange.
last name is Strange.
Yeah.
There's probably some old timey Marvel versus DC rivalry going on there where they're like, ha, I took your name.
Potentially, yeah. No,
like Doom Patrol with X-Men and all that shit. Like, they've been doing that with each other forever.
Thankfully, it's so different that like it's not to the point of being too distracting. Like I don't think of like I think that's why he's known as Professor Hugo Strange, not Doctor Strange.
Yes, exactly.
Because now everyone just calls him Professor Strange.
Right.
So that helps in that. But yeah, physically and in terms of like other parts of his personality, like he doesn't do any magic shit or whatever.
That's true.
It's thankfully separate. But yeah, it is kind of strange. No pun intended on that. King Tut is in this as well.
Oh,
sure
man.
That was the surprise to me. I'm just like, what is this? I thought it was a Two-Face movie.
Yeah, I know. I was watching this the first 30 minutes. I'm like, where the fuck is Two-Face, man?
Right.
Well, he shows up for a half a second, but before that, but it's just like, okay, we got King Tut going on. He's, I don't know.
Yeah.
Fine, I guess.
Yeah.
Actually thinking about cultural appropriation shit while I'm watching it, but then again, it is a guy with split personality disorder.
Yes.
And he is a villain, so it's just, I don't know. I guess it works even still.
Yeah. Well, he believes, he was bonked on the head, and he believes that he is King Tut. Excuse me. He is King Tut.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah, there is cultural appropriation involved, but
yeah.
It's just because he's delusional and thinks that he's King Tut. So
that's
I don't
cool.
know.
I mean, man, you could definitely weave a tale with that these days with cultural appropriation. I guess it's not very dangerous for Batman to handle, but I don't know. That's a thing you can employ.
Matt Reeves.
Yeah. Matt Reeves, I want a lot from you, but I do not need a Matt Reeves King Tut. I can die without one. I need a Matt Reeves Mr. Freeze, Matt Reeves Hugo Strange. I need a Matt Reeves Joker maybe in the third one. I don't even want the Joker in the second one. Too much Joker lately. Anyway, keep going, Ben.
Give Matt Reeves give us King Tut in the third one along with the Batusi, but you have to give it a dark update, both of them. It's up to you.
Oh man,
it
please.
Is absolutely up to you. I think let's see, in terms of there's the Batusi in there. Well, it's in the dance sequences of there. But another thing that you could update with King Tut is would Ra's al Ghul be offended?
Oh,
Because
dude,
remember, Ra's
that
al
would be
Ghul,
awesome.
his origin is in ancient Egypt.
That's true.
And he's like,
That's
I
so
knew
good.
Tutankhamun, and you are not Tutankhamun.
You're a white guy. Your AncestryDNA.com says that you are 80% Irish.
Yeah, I have a feeling this King Tut versus Ra's al Ghul match is not going to be very fair.
No,
At the end of
no.
this.
Oh my God,
King Tut will be dead.
That's hilarious, though. That would be such a good comic, like a comedic run,
Comedic comic,
a
yeah.
comedic one shot in the comics. Maybe that would be cool.
It is interesting that there's certain characters that lasted or became famous due to the 60s show, and then there's other characters that they created for the 60s show that they're just associated with the 60s show. They never show up again.
Right.
So there's King Tut. There's Egghead.
Yes.
Which is, we talked about this, I think, offline before, but that seems like a waste of Vincent Price.
Yeah, that was a complete waste.
He throws eggs at people.
Vincent Price could have been the Scarecrow, dude.
Well, instead they had Shame, who was a cowboy guy played by future Uncle Ben, Cliff Robertson, and he was the one who had the first form of like fear toxin or something.
Okay.
And he doused Adam West with it. Now, of course, it was done the 60s, 66 show type of way, but
yeah,
he does have the claim to fame to having done that before.
And they got Bookworm in here. Is he from the comics?
Bookworm is not in the comics. He was incorporated into it later. That's another thing. If you guys listen to my our interview with Cole Vallis, I talked about the Gotham spec where I had Tommy Elliott in there. I also was very close to putting Bookworm in there as the school librarian.
Oh, that'd be cool. Why not?
As just like another faculty member for him to interrogate, but there was just no room for it. So unfortunately, Bookworm was cut. I never ended up writing a scene with him in it. But
so let's pick apart Bookworm real quick. I really want to do this. You know how we like to pick apart character motivations and stuff on this show. Real quick side note here.
Yeah.
So his character motivation is that he seeks knowledge so hard that he is evil.
Yes.
Making myself laugh over
It's kind of like Riddler, but even more ridiculous.
He's like, knowledge is power. Well, then I should become the most powerful.
I will read all the books in the world. It's like Bookworm. We have Audible now. Like, we don't need to do this.
He's constantly listening to audiobooks. He's talking to Batman. Oh, wait. What'd you say, Batman? Takes his headphones off.
He's pissed off because he was trying to listen to Audible on his commute, but it got interrupted by the Batmobile.
Yes.
And he's like, from now on,
I shall have my revenge.
I missed a whole page of The Three Musketeers by Alexander Dumas.
Yes.
The Bookworm was played by, do you know who he was played by?
Oh no, I couldn't tell that voice.
Well, not in the. I don't mean in the Batman vs. Two-Face because his actor.
Oh no, that's one episode I don't think I've seen. I never saw a Bookworm episode.
He was played by Roddy McDowell, who.
That's familiar. Now you tell me. Yeah.
Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
As the various characters in the Planet of the Apes series, he would then go on to do the audiobook of the 1989 movie novelization. That's a deep ass cut. The novelization of the '89 movie.
Oh shit!
He did the audiobook.
That's right.
You can listen to it on YouTube. I've heard him. It's a very abridged version of it, so it's like 1 hour or so.
Yeah.
But he does a decent job. He does a decent Joker.
Yeah.
And that it's definitely
cool.
his own take on Joker because he doesn't really try to do a Jack Nicholson impression.
Right.
And he just does his own thing.
Too hard.
Which he rightfully should.
Yeah, that's
and then
cool.
He was the voice of Mad Hatter in the animated series we grew up with.
Mad Hatter is one of those ones. Also, I think up there with Mr. Freeze. That I would like to see Matt Reeves tackle in the second one. I think that Mad Hatter's like still a little bit fresh and hasn't been done and on the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I know we talk a lot about the Matt Reeves movie, but man, we are looking forward to that like crazy.
See what he's got. I mean, we'll see I think when we start seeing more production stills, we get a better idea of what we're getting into.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah, that's true.
But it does not look like Harvey Dent is part of, at least not this new movie. Maybe he'll be part of the second one. Because everybody thought Peter Sarsgaard was going to be Two-Face or Harvey Dent. And then they announced he is D.A. Gil Coulson or something like that.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is Gil Coulson? Okay, fine.
By the way, another tangent. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Okay, it's fine.
But as of this recording, the only villains that we know are are Penguin and Riddler in the Matt Reeves movie.
Right, and if you count Catwoman,
If you count
I feel like
Catwoman.
she's going to be more of an anti-heroine than a...
Generally, right?
Yeah.
So that's people always say they're always overloaded, but there's only 2.
There's only 2, and we don't know what
2
the
and a
roles
half.
are. I mean, look at Batman Begins.
Yeah.
There's Ra's al Ghul, Scarecrow, Mr. Zsasz had a cameo, Carmine Falcone.
Yeah. It's loaded down, man.
Dark Knight.
Oh, yeah, Falcone is in this, huh?
Yeah, and then Dark Knight, it's not just Joker, it's got Two-Face at the end, but it's also got an entire mob, rival mob factions.
Right.
Got Michael J. White, Eric Roberts, the Chechen guy, everybody is in this. So I don't necessarily subscribe to the number. It's not the number of villains. It's how well you use them.
That's true. That's true.
So the same thing in Batman versus Two-Face. It's not just Two-Face. It's got all the other Rogues Gallery villains.
It's got the whole thing just about, right?
Yeah.
They did Joker, everybody.
Yeah, and they did that with Return of the Great Crusaders when they brought everybody out of the jail in order to fight them off.
Right.
That time.
Right.
But yeah, it's a wonderful tribute to the 66 show. It is very short as well, 72 minutes. But it is a nice little love letter to Adam West, and it's a shame they didn't make more of these. I wish this was a trilogy.
Lots of great sight gags, like Alfred Cam in the car. It just says Alfred Cam. That's just so good, man.
It's amazing.
And all the naming for what was it, bat essence oil for or whatever at the end. Man, that was funny as hell. Oh, the other one, the joke that I probably appreciated the most was Riddler's joke. It probably should have been a Joker joke because it's so good.
Yeah.
Where he was like, "We're doing his bidding," and I thought that was so good. It's a pun, but it's such a good pun. It's such a good pun.
It's so good. So yeah, the writers of this were it was Michael Jelenic and James Tucker.
Okay.
As well, who also was the supervising producer.
James Tucker, you say?
Yes, James Tucker. Potentially a name you might hear again. But anyways, but yes, a wonderful tribute to the 66 show. I'm just really glad that they did it, and that Adam West got to sort of play this role till the very end.
Yeah, for sure.
It was a great tribute on that. But when we get back from the break, we will now dive into Harvey himself, specifically the many different types of times they tried to bring Harvey into the 66 show.
Hey everybody, it's Andrew. I just wanted to tell you about our friend Israel's retro gaming shop, RetroCo. If you go to retro-ko.com, you'll be able to see all of his retro gaming goodies. If you wanted to get that Sega Saturn hidden gem from back in the day, or if you wanted to get the Famicom disk system that you never got as a kid, or any other type of retro game that you were into, or import game, please go to retroco.com. That's retro-ko.com. And if you use the Superhouse code Johnson's Ballsack, you'll be able to get a little bit of a discount at checkout. So please, once again, if you could just go to retroco.com. You can also go to facebook.com/retroco with no hyphen. That's RETROKO. You'll be able to find him on Facebook as well. If you were looking for that PlayStation import game that you never got, if you were looking for that Mega Drive game that you never got, or any other kind of retro game, any import game, it could even be European, Israel also curates bundles at RetroCo, and he'll curate that bundle just for you. So please, go check him out. If you put in the code Johnson's Ballsack at checkout, you'll receive a Superhouse discount. And we're back, everybody.
With part 2. You see what I did there?
How long did you have that one in the chamber, Ben?
2. Throughout the break. Yes.
2 weeks.
2 weeks and 2 days. So, the history of Harvey Dent / Two-Face. Originally, have you read the original Two-Face comics?
No, I have not.
Okay. Harvey Dent was not originally named Harvey Dent. Did you know that?
No.
He was originally a Harvey Kent.
They just really weren't that creative.
They really don't like changing names. They're just like Kent Allard for the Shadow, Clark Kent for Superman. I guess he's another Kent.
What's the mother's name again? Martha?
Martha? Martha Kent?
Can't be Kent this time. Can't be Kent.
Kent.
It's not the Mario
So
Brothers.
it could be Kent. So it's Harvey Kent. First appeared in Detective Comics 66. His origin is shown very briefly, and he's up against Boss Maroni. Maroni spelled M-O-R-O, N-I. So if you mispronounce it, it's more like moroni.
Right.
So
right.
not the most intimidating name. I can see why they changed it. But he's mainly a plot device to turn Harvey into a Two-Face. But the classic origin is exactly what you guys saw in Batman Forever. Harvey Dent is interviewing Maroni. Batman is in the courtroom
As Batman.
as Batman,
Which is also in this movie.
yeah. And then Harvey is getting too close to getting rid of Maroni, so Maroni throws the acid in his face, and Batman is too late to stop it. So what doesn't get covered a lot is that Harvey gets offered plastic surgery, of course. You know,
Okay,
still
yeah,
had
for
that
sure.
At the time, even in 1942.
They say you're denying plastic surgery in The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Some mention.
he was given it, but apparently there is only one plastic surgeon in it who can do it, and his name is Dr. Eckhart.
Okay.
Now, not to be confused with Aaron Eckhart, future Two-Face actor.
Man, that's weird, huh?
That is weird, yeah.
It was written in the stars.
It was, yes. So Dr. Eckhart can't do the surgery because it's 1942, and he's in a concentration camp.
Damn.
I shit you not. That was so Harvey Dent becomes Two-Face because of Hitler.
Wow. This is actually kind of incredible.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Little known fact about the Two-Face. Also,
do you know why Superman couldn't go to war to fight Hitler? They had to, during World War II, they had to explain why their heroes weren't saving the world.
You know this?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, what was it then?
He has X-ray vision. Remember, this is 1942 writing or whatever. He's getting his physical, and he looks through the eye exam and the eye exam in the other room.
Yeah.
And says the wrong letters. So he fails his physical as Superman by accident.
Yeah, but can't he just show up? Like
He just is like, I guess I can't fight for the army now. You know what I mean?
Oh my God,
This is how they wrote it back in the day.
They could have come up with something better than that. Okay.
They tried very hard back
Well,
then.
Bill Finger did a better job. I think it was Bill Finger. Bill Finger did a better job with Two-Face in terms of an explanation for why he just didn't get plastic surgery. Well, because his doctor is in Auschwitz. So
That's incredible.
Yeah. So he does have a fiance, Gilda Gold, in this. And she's not in a lot of different versions of the story. Gilda is. She's in The Long Halloween. But Gilda is a sculptress, and she creates this bust of Harvey's face, and at one point Harvey just destroys the other half of it because he's now Two-Face.
Oh, right. Okay.
Let's see. Other elements that you don't really see a lot is that when Two-Face starts committing crimes, that's only when the scarred side comes up. But if he flips it and the clean side comes up, he donates the loot to charity, or he does something good.
Okay.
So he is, you don't know which side he's going to be on, like literally.
Okay.
And at the end of part 1, he's in a standoff with Batman in a hideout that is very familiar to Batman Forever viewers because on one side is decorated differently than the other.
Oh, yeah.
Just like in Batman Forever.
Yeah.
And Two-Face flips the coin, and it lands on the edge. And he's like, I don't know what to do. And then Batman still fights him, but like it's a 2-part story. Of course. Detective Comics 66 and 68. But it ends, interestingly, in a 3rd part. Detective Comics 80 was called The End of Two-Face.
Okay.
Now, this is interesting because most of the time it was just like, he's a supervillain now, and we'll bring him back every now and then. But they actually decided to end Two-Face's reign at this point. At one point, Gilda, his fiance, gets shot.
Okay.
And she reveals, as she's like about to fall unconscious, that she still loves Harvey. And Harvey's like, oh my God, what have I done? And he decides to go straight. And so he double crosses his own crew and helps Batman fight them. And at the end, now that this is no longer 1942, and I think Dr. Eckhart escaped from Auschwitz, he does get his plastic surgery and lives happily ever after with Gilda.
That's pretty cool. So they buttoned it up nicely, which they didn't do back in the day.
Yeah, it was called the Two-Face. We call it the Two-Face Trilogy, the fans of today, I think, because
that's cool.
Parts. And then, of course, they had to ruin it years later where they're just like, you know what? Let's bring Two-Face back. So then there was the tale of the return of Two-Face in 1950. And the return of Two-Face is when they're just like, you know what? Let's not get him confused with Clark Kent. So let's change the first initial of his last name to a D. And so that was the first time he was called Harvey Dent. Was in the return
it sounds
of Two-Face.
better.
So Harvey Dent is walking around. He used to be Two-Face. He's been reformed, but then he tries to stop these gangsters from committing a crime, and there's an explosion that takes off the plastic surgery, and he's Two-Face again.
So this whole, like, I was Two-Face for a hot second, and then now I'm no longer Two-Face, but I'm still kind of Two-Face.
Yeah.
Is, like, that DNA in the movie is from all that.
It actually is from the comics. Yeah, so that's why I'm ramping up to exactly what you just said. That this was their way to sort of incorporate those elements.
Citing precedent in a sense. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then from then on, ever since the Return of Two-Face, he was just always Two-Face and terrorizing Batman and doing his two-themed, all the themed crimes on the number 2.
All the versions that I have seen and read, he's pretty much always Two-Face.
Yeah,
he can't go in and out like he does in this movie.
Right. So that does lead. Did you want to go into a little something that happened, since we're already spoiling the fuck out of
like
Two-Face movie?
The thing that I thought of whenever I was watching it, in the third act of the movie, he becomes mono-face.
Yeah,
basically. So to me, it's like his face represents the duality of his mental state. So I was thinking at that point that the coin wouldn't matter anymore.
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, maybe I need to think about it a little bit more, but like he has, it seems like the coin's still a big deal. He gets that fake coin from Batman, and it's just like, I'm just thinking like, oh, the evil side's fully taken over. What does the coin have to? What does it matter anymore? I don't know. What do you think?
No, it's a good point. Like the coin is representing the fact that it gives him. It tells him what to do. It gives him direction in terms of which side to choose. So if you're all completely on one side, I totally get it.
Yeah.
Also makes him way less interesting of a villain, of course, though.
Yeah, he's just a monster basically at that point.
Yeah, it does.
Monster type.
But it is interesting to see Harvey Dent conquer Two-Face.
Yeah, that is cool.
Movie,
that is cool.
Which was not what I was expecting either.
And I like seeing mono-face.
Yeah,
I did. One face, I liked him. It was pretty cool. I've never seen that before. Didn't have a problem with that. It was just the mechanic with the coin.
Logic of the end.
The logic of the coin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So then we jump into the 50s. They brought Two-Face back, and then the 60s, of course, they started doing the 1966 show. And around this time is when, since Two-Face is one of the big villains, they decided, okay, let's try out and see what we could do to bring him in. And there's a lot of rumors. There's the biggest rumors that I kept reading online is that they wanted to get Clint Eastwood to play Harvey
Would have been
Dent,
amazing.
to play a reporter, and then like one of the lights explodes and the fragments of the lights scar him on the other side. And
that's how they do it in the show.
And that's how they would do it in the show.
Yeah.
This was never verified whatsoever by anything. I feel like this is just a made up internet rumor.
Okay.
Because Eastwood has never confirmed that he was up for that.
Right.
And I just feel like he doesn't really fit the type of actor you were getting on there. Like, actors went on there to play villains to have fun.
Right. This would have been a tone change.
Yeah. Like I just don't see it. And I can't. I basically, for research for this episode, I read 2 treatments and a script, and not one of those has him as a reporter, as any version of that. So I'm going to shoot down and debunk this popular internet rumor. I see no evidence that Clint Eastwood was ever going to be Two-Face.
Online sleuth work.
Yes, but Two-Face was originally proposed to be, it looks like, potentially even for the first season, because the first treatment I read was from November of 1965. That was before the actual premiere of the first
Because he was a popular villain in the comics already. Yeah. Well-established, well-liked.
Yeah, especially because he was so well-established that they brought him back, even after he was cured in the 50s. So there's this treatment then that was written in 1965. And the biggest surprise I think a lot of people have found is that the writer of this is science fiction Star Trek writer Harlan Ellison.
That name is familiar to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
He wrote the City on the Edge of Forever, I think the name is.
Yeah. That's a very famous episode. Yeah.
So he wrote The Two-Way Crimes of Two-Face in 1965. And years later, DC would adapt this into a comic book.
Okay, that's cool.
The illustrations made to look like the 60s show. It's a different story, though, than what we saw in the Batman vs. Two-Face movie. So I'm just going to summarize what happens in this treatment. But it starts off with the treatment details the Two-Face origin, and it's pretty much exactly like what I described in the comic.
Okay.
So Harlan Ellison was kind of just like, why, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So why would I possibly do this? So it's the same thing. Maroni throws the acid. Batman tries to stop it. He fails. Harvey decides to become Two-Face. There's a time jump, and we see a whole bunch of rich people gathering for an auction of antiques. And a reporter comes out to bring out the antiques, but to everyone's shock, his face starts melting off.
Okay.
And it's revealed that that's makeup and is actually Two-Face, and he's there to rob people. And so we cut to Gordon calling Batman, and they arrive to find that Two-Face, during this crime, actually repaired one of the antiques because the good side of the coin came up.
Oh, shit.
In the middle of the thing.
Okay.
So the narrator would have said, "What's this? A criminal who does good deeds? Returning more than what he stole? What is this?"
I love it. I love it. It should have been made. It should have been made.
So Two-Face terrorizes people for 2 weeks, but usually around this time, Batman would, of course, be talking to Robin about, like, I remember when he was district attorney, Harvey Dent. Perhaps we can find some way to turn our old friend. But yes, Two-Face terrorizes Gotham for like 2 weeks. He's robbing one place, and he gives the loot to another place, the place that he was supposed to rob. So this is basically just as true to Detective Comics 66 as you could possibly get.
Right.
Batman catches up to Two-Face and plants a tracer on him and traces him over to this hideout. But of course, they get captured at the hideout. And lo and behold, guess what? Two-Face flips the coin, and that's the cliffhanger for part 1.
Oh, shit. See, that's so good.
It's like,
I mean, that's what you have to do. It's kind of standard, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's still so good. Like,
it's made for that.
Yeah.
Now, like, as you said, it's kind of standard, but again, from the 66 lens, like, this would have been people's introduction to the character.
And little boys across, mostly boys, some girls too, like, would have lost their fucking minds. Like, when I hear the comic book men guys talk about when they watch that, like, when they were kids, like, it was just hell waiting for the second part of every episode.
Yeah.
It was like 2 a week, maybe?
Yeah, so for those who don't know, a lot of the times, the 66 show, it was, all the stories were two-parters.
Yeah.
It wasn't just 1 hour straight. It was they would show a half hour that would end on a cliffhanger, and 99% of the time it was a death trap.
It's where same bat time, same bat channel comes up.
Like,
and all that.
Same bat time, same bat channel. And then you would come back the next night and see the rest of it and see how Batman got out of it. So that's kind of how Batman developed the whole escape artistry type stuff. So part two picks up, and Two-Face has flipped the coin, and this is where it lands on the edge, just like that comic. And of course, that's enough of a distraction for Batman and Robin to fight. But Robin ruins it by tripping over Two-Face's shotgun pellets and falls into Batman. So Two-Face makes his escape. And afterwards, Bruce and Dick are talking, and there's a little character moment of Bruce Wayne talking to Dick Grayson about this entire situation, about how they can still see good in their old friend, and maybe there's still a shred of decency in him, and they have to stop him before he actually kills somebody, because Two-Face hasn't killed anybody yet.
Okay.
So they're just trying to pull him away from the dark side. So they figure out Two-Face's next crime, and he's going to steal crowns from these wealthy twins. So Batman and Robin chase after Two-Face, and they wind up at Two-Face's secret headquarters, which is like this. This is weird, but it's a ship. it's like a pirate ship.
It's always a ship at the end.
Yeah, it's a pirate ship, which Two-Face actually had at the final part in the end of Two-Face comic. So again, this is Ellison being very true to those 3 stories. In another version, it's at like a... So in one version, it's at like an old movie studio, but in the comic book adaptation, they put it in like an island.
If you were to rewrite that, would you change the location?
Of the hideout?
Yeah. It will be more indicative of
a dual thing?
Yeah, duality-based villain lair.
That's a good question.
What place inhabits 2 different things all at once?
I mean, a boat kind of does, because you're kind of on land and sea at the same time.
Hovercraft. No, I don't know. Yeah, I can't think of anything now.
Now that I think about it, I'm like, maybe that's why he's on the ship.
Yeah, I guess. It's just, I don't know. My first instinct was that that could be improved upon.
Yes.
Pirate ship's good for kids comics and stuff. I get it. Like pirates are cool, but I don't know. It's one of those things.
It's not something you associate with Two-Face.
Yeah, it's not a Two-Face thing. But then again, what I don't know, man. Like some sort of weird New York or Gotham loft or something. That's I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, we will get to other different Two-Face hideouts a little later, but in the meantime, let's stick to the Harlan Ellison version. So on the ship, Batman fights the thugs, but he gets knocked out and he gets captured. So Two-Face again puts him into another death trap because this is the 1966 show. But Batman reminds him, "Hey, Harvey, you have to use the coin. Isn't that like your Achilles heel type of like? Isn't that your main thing that you use?" And so he makes a wager. He says, "If the coin lands on the edge again, you'll free me and you'll turn yourself in for rehabilitation."
Right.
And so Two-Face is like, that's never going to happen. So sure, I'll take that deal. And he flips it, and lo and behold, it lands right on the edge.
He switched the coins?
Yep, he did. So Batman frees himself, and of course has to tell Two-Face, all right, you said that you would do this. And so after a bit of a fight, he tells Harvey, I hope you get help, as they take him away. And he turns himself into rehabilitation. And at the end, of course, Bruce recaps to Dick Grayson and Alfred that he made a dummy duplicate coin that was weighted on one side so that it would flip on the edge. And then he just switched it when he was in the fight with Two-Face so that he would make that wager.
It's good for that time period, but man, from now on, let's put an embargo on that storyline.
You're saying that shouldn't be in the Matt Reeves...
That should not be in the Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves, do not do that. We're going to rename this podcast Advice to Matt Reeves because he needs us so badly.
Yes, exactly. He's desperate.
Yeah.
He really needs help.
So hard.
He reminds Dick that victory comes from always being prepared. So if you can make a random dummy duplicate coin that's weighted on one side and be in a situation where you can make a wager on it and make promises that villain will make good on his word that he will honor that wager, then you're good.
Yeah.
It's not complex at all.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
It's easy.
So that was the original version of Two-Face, but for whatever reason, they didn't go with it. And to be honest, I haven't really found a lot of reasons why these weren't made. I think it is exactly what you said, that this is a little too much for the tone that they were going for. To be honest, the most I can see for a 66 Two-Face is they just literally just paint his other face like a different color, and that's it.
Yeah, there was in Star Trek, the original series, there's this episode where these people have two different colored faces.
Yep.
They're aliens. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You've seen this? They could have done something like that, It's
That's
the same.
Frank Gorshin.
Frank Gorshin. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, this is the Batman connection already.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
you know more about this than I realized. Yeah, that's the only way. I mean, I don't know if they do a mangled face makeup. I mean, it'd be cool to in an alternate history. That'd be kind of cool to see. But I just don't see them doing that for that hokey of a show.
Yeah, no, I literally just see it just like what you described with Star Trek. It's just literally they just paint his other side face and they just say that it's quote unquote acid or some liquid in the context of the show.
Which would have been fine, probably.
Yeah, I would have been fine with it.
Has his own henchmen that have a similar theme and shit. It'd be cool.
So we have that was the first version, but there was a second version because of course there's a second version. This is Two-Face. So it was written, it looks like this was primed for you guys will think I'm shitting you, but this seems like it was primed for season 2 for the 66 show. I didn't pre-script these puns. I swear.
Those duplicitous dogs.
This is what happens This is actually what happened. This is history, my friends. John Marcus was the writer. He wrote a treatment dated June 13th, 1966, called About Face for Two-Face.
So it's just a good title already.
But this was changed. This was changed, unfortunately. I know you love the title. This was changed to The Two-Faced Counterfeit by Peter Rabe, who wrote the script version of it. Not as good of a title. Not as good of a title.
About Face, way better.
So this is a much less orthodox version of Two-Face.
This is Bob Kane wrote this one?
Not in that sense, no.
How many 10 plus broads we got walking in this picture?
There is one in this, but she's not described like
We've
that.
We've gotten so much comedic mileage out of that Bob Kane. I love it though, man.
I know, but unfortunately this is not, it wasn't nearly as entertaining that way, but it is weird to read, considering what we know about Two-Face.
It's not exactly a woke script, I take it.
Well, one line, and you'll know what it is when I say it.
I got you. Okay.
So it starts with this rich guy. He buys something, he leaves, and then they're just like, "Stop! You paid us with counterfeit money." And he's like, "No, I did not." And then it turns out like all of Gotham has been a victim to using counterfeit money, where it's real on one side and fake on the other. So Commissioner Gordon calls Batman, and Batman, of course, suspects because of the two different sides that it is Two-Face, who he describes as, quote, an advanced genius with retarded moral development. That is the non-woke line that...
yeah, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I know.
But, because... he's referring to something. I think he truly means something clinical, and not joking around.
Yes.
So the intention actually is not so bad,
yes,
probably.
Yes, but that would not stop some people of 2020.
Yeah, no, don't write it these days. But I see what's going on.
You're saying this should not be in the Matt Reeves.
No, the Matt Reeves do not write retarded in any sense in your script.
Okay. It's good that we told him that. He would totally do it. Otherwise,
he would have blown it, man. Matt Reeves would have blown it.
If this podcast did not exist, the Batman would never be the same. So Gotham Bank seems to be the center of this counterfeit money. And, of course, who is one of the big chairmen of this bank but Bruce Wayne? So Chief O'Hara is like, Bagora, I will call Bruce Wayne and see what's happening. But
by the way, what the fuck is Bagora?
I don't know. It's like some random Irish slang thing that they just make him say all the time. But yeah,
by the way, when I was a kid watching, I guess, reruns of Batman 66, I literally thought every cop was Irish. Even though I was in the middle of Alabama at the time, I just assumed all cops were Irish.
And then you see a black cop and you're just like, how come?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
It was a strong stereotype for me.
Thanks to one of my favorite parts of Return of the King Crusaders is when the Batman clones start replacing all the officials, and then the Batman clone of Chief O'Hara is like Bagora. It's a very Adam West delivery of it.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, he calls Wayne Manor. Chief O'Hara calls Wayne Manor to contact Bruce Wayne, and of course Bruce Wayne, for whatever reason, is not home while Batman is in the same office as Chief O'Hara.
Right.
And he's being told by Alfred that he's out to catch something called the Grimmer fish. But Batman says, he's off to catch the fish, and Batman says, so will we, as they will go off to find their own fish. That's their attempt at a pun.
Okay.
To go to the bank. And now we will meet Two-Face in his lair with his girlfriend. This is the 10-plus broad, as Bob Kane would say.
Bob Kane, baby.
Her name is Facilia. Facilia. It's a weird name. But yeah, her name is Facilia. I don't know if that has anything to do
Italian,
with Italian.
sounds like. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, facile means easy.
I'm thinking Spanish, of a lot of vagina type from Austin Powers 1.
But that's a possibility. That's what they were going for. But for whatever reason, like every single supervillain in the 66 show always had a girlfriend, which is kind of why Harley Quinn exists.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Harley Quinn is kind of a takeoff on that.
What was Riddler's girlfriend name?
Riddler's girlfriend was... Give me a couple seconds to Google. No, Riddler's girlfriend. The first episode I know was played by.
She had he had lead hench people.
He did, but in the very first episode, it was a girl played by Jill St. John, who was a former Bond girl. She
they got the best talent, man. At that time, right? They didn't get the B team. They got like a lot of A-listers in the Batman show.
No, certainly. So her name was Molly. That seems kind of anticlimactic. I feel like it was going to be something else.
Molly. The only connection I feel from that is Molly's an Irish name, and green is associated with Ireland, and and Riddler's green.
She doesn't wear green. No.
That's all I got.
She wears red. She's the one that Batman does the Batusi to in the famous scene.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, and then she knocks him out, I think, or something. But she's also known because she dresses up as Robin and disguises herself as Robin at one point.
This is in the 66 show?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. So the first female Robin.
She's technically the first female Robin, and she's also got the red hair and everything, and a lot of people speculate that image might have made an impact on Frank Miller and created
must
Carrie
have.
Kelly.
There's like 20 years to simmer there. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Exactly. But it gets weird because she dresses up in the Robin suit, and then for whatever reason, she puts on the Domino mask, and suddenly she's Burt Ward. But Burt Ward acting feminine to play Molly as Robin.
They did this shit all the time back in the day. Not just Batman. It's just weird shit, and you're just supposed to buy it.
Molly was also one of the few characters to die in the 66 show. Because this usually didn't happen, but this was the first episode.
Burt Ward's like, I was playing a woman, but my dick was still really big, okay? They had to try to hide it.
there was no CG at the time.
They couldn't send a cat's upgrade on that thing.
They couldn't do the Cavill thing on the mustache and do a shitty job trying to disguise something.
My package was just too big.
So, but yeah, she gets vaporized in the Batcave.
Yeah.
So she's one of the few. So she's a very significant character in the Batman mythos that nobody knows about. But Joker's henchwoman at one point was Queenie, which is actually the name of a henchwoman that he encountered in the comics. So that actually is there is a connection there to the comics. Queenie was also blonde, just like Harley Quinn.
Dude, I think this is a deep dive in and of itself.
The many henchwomen of the 1966 show.
Yeah, top women to the villain, like. Yeah, maybe for the 66 show or something like that.
Well, that's just the henchwomen, but
whatever the phrasing is, we'll need to find maybe better phrasing.
There's a bunch of villainesses in the 66 show that have never come back again.
Right.
There's Black Widow. Tallulah Bankhead was Black Widow.
Who was Eggman's girlfriend?
Google, please give me Eggman girlfriend. TSA's like, what the fuck is this?
Oh man.
I haven't gotten anything yet. Let me see. What? Okay, guys, if you type in Eggman girlfriend Batman in Google, the top result is Talia.
What? Okay.
That is a whole other love triangle story we'll save for another time.
I'm telling you, there's another episode brewing, and it's going to be before the Dark Knight again. Dark Knight episode is coming.
This is after Ra's al Ghul kills King Tut for cultural appropriation of Egypt.
Oh, dude, there's such a great script there, man.
Only to find that Talia no longer wants to be with Bruce Wayne because she's in love with Eggman. That's the new thing.
Oh man.
All right, so back to Two-Face, everybody. Everybody's like, let's get back to the original 66 thing.
That was the point of this show.
Yeah, so I'm just going to read the description here because it's very interesting. The room reflects Two-Face's duality. One half is modern, the other primitive like a log cabin. Two-Face enters, surveilling his quarters with satisfaction. In the process, he reveals that his attire is also halved. So here's what's something funny. There's no description describing his face. His name is Two-Face. It just describes his clothes.
This is the second script.
Is the second script? Yeah,
yeah.
So
they
Harlan
probably
Ellison
leave that open to the artist, the makeup artist. You know.
Yeah. This is one side is a formal cutaway, the other is baggy tweeds. Here's where things get super weird. 4 robots enter with him and range themselves side by side near the door. They constitute his gang. Somewhat smaller than average to emphasize their later feats of strength, they are similarly bland-faced and indicate their mechanical nature by slight stiffness of motion. So Two-Face creates robots in this version.
So this writer's not as good as Mr. Ellison.
Well, no. Okay, this is written by. This is originally written for this by John Marcus and then turned into it by Peter Ray. But they both had the same concept of this.
Okay.
And the robots' names are Horace and Helmut. And there's also Hank and Herbert. Like everybody's got an H name. Why? I don't know.
People love alliteration.
Yeah, a lot of alliteration on here. And the description to Facilia is that she's his girlfriend. Okay, yeah, it's that she's clumsy. So funny enough, there is no Bob Kane 10+ description of her. It's just his girlfriend Facilia in shapely overexposure. I don't know if that means the lighting or whatever, but whatever.
Shapely overexposure.
I don't know what that means.
So she's overexposed to the sense where she is shapely?
I don't know. This is not Harlan Ellison.
Okay.
So Two-Face's dialogue is interesting here because he switches back and forth between Shakespearean language and just regular gangster speak.
Okay.
So he says, "When shall we two fade again? In thunder, lightning, or in rain? No, when the hurly-burly's done. Like when we get the money, honey." So like he switches from like Macbeth to like gangster shit. And I'm like, this is weird, but I kind of get what they're going for. So in the script, Facilia asks like, "Why do you keep so many robots?" And he's like, "Well, I don't trust humans. They're all two-faced." So that explains why he's got robots. And then
okay. I mean, okay.
This is not as good as the Harlan Ellison one. This is mainly good to share because of just how fucking weird it is.
It'd still be kind of fun to watch, though. I mean, I got the visual of like a 1966 robot in my head right now.
I know. But also imagine if this actually went through, and this is what people thought Two-Face was. Oh, he's a guy who makes robots.
It would have informed the pop culture at large.
Yeah.
You know,
Harvey Dent would have been making robots in The Dark Knight.
Probably. They would have made some reference to it.
Yeah.
At least.
You look like a robot maker. I don't know. Something better than that. He also dances. But he dances, of course, two very different dances. He switches from the Watusi to the minuet. I don't know how that works.
Oh, man. Okay.
This guy kind of took the two duality thing to the extreme. But he decides to make sure that his scheme is going well. So he spies in on the bank where all this counterfeit money is happening. So Batman investigates this bank and finds out that they have a new teller. And, of course, that teller has an H name, of course, being Hubert. So Batman goes to the Hubert and says, he's like, there's something off about this teller. So he goes up to Hubert and he says, do you know why a collar button is like a heavy type of smoke? They both choke. And Hubert does not laugh at this joke.
Okay.
So Batman says, because he did not laugh, he must be a robot.
Everyone laughs at my jokes.
So
I'm
Batman shoves his hand onto Hubert's nose and twists the guy's nose, and his head opens up, revealing the machinery inside. And Robin is like, holy clockworks. And this. So in the script, they realized that the robot was there to replace the chief teller, and the real chief teller has been locked up in the vault this whole time with limited oxygen. So, of course, there's a rescue scene of Batman using the Hubert robot to sort of use his strength to take the vault door off so they can save this chief teller's life. So that's kind of cool. But they decide to take the robot to the Batcave to study it. And here's what's interesting. Robin asks Batman, who did Two-Face used to be? And Batman says he used to be an actor and an inventor of special effects.
Okay.
So this Two-Face is like a combination of Clayface and Mysterio, where he used to be an actor, but he also is like great at like illusions and special effects stuff. There is no version. There's nothing in here indicating he used to be a lawyer. He's never even called Harvey Dent.
So he just changed a bunch just for the show.
They pretty much just like, we got a guy named Two-Face, and he's all about the number 2 in duality. Do something with this.
Robots.
Well, what's interesting is that they didn't do too much with the whole 2 theme at all.
It seems like this one doesn't really understand the character quite as well, man.
You don't say.
Harlan Ellison
got this.
He really nailed it.
Yeah,
seems like.
no, he had the perfect, if there was a version in the 66 show for them to do, that was the version.
He did write City on the Edge of Forever, which is one of the top episodes of TV, probably of all time. Mm-hmm. That and maybe a couple Twilight Zone episodes and shit like that.
It is surprising that he was even associating himself with the 66 show in general, considering that it probably didn't have the association of high class entertainment, like some of Twilight Zone or something like that. I mean, it was all known for entertainment. Maybe it's high class in retrospect, but I'm sure at the time this was kind of it
was lowbrow compared to Star Trek wasn't even that respected either,
right? But there was still some. I don't know. It just feels interesting that he was even involved in the first place.
It's cool. It's definitely cool.
The closest comic version to this version is that in the Sunday, there used to be Sunday comic strips that Bob Kane and his ghostwriters, who pretended to be Bob Kane, would write for, and they had a whole different version of Two-Face where he was an actor named Harvey Apollo.
Okay.
And of course, Harvey Apollo gets hit by the acid, and then he becomes Two-Face, and pretty much the same thing. And it has a dark ending where Harvey Apollo's Two-Face accidentally hangs himself. And it just ends with his...
This would not be on the show.
Yeah, no. It literally ends with his body hanging in a noose. And I'm like...
That's dark for the comics.
Fuck? Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah. And then there is another version of Two-Face who is an actor who's supposed to be the copycat Two-Face, and his name is Paul Sloan.
Okay.
And Paul Sloan was cast to play Harvey Dent in a movie that's a biopic on Harvey Dent, the Harvey Dent story.
Oh, shit.
But somebody who's jealous of him and his love life replaces the fake acid with real acid, and so he gets hit with the acid, and he figures out that he becomes Two-Face. He becomes the second Two-Face.
Oh my god!
On this, so
I have a question that I might be getting ahead of you on this, but let me know. Does Two-Face have any basis in a shadow villain?
Yeah, there was the Face.
Oh, the Face. Yeah, of course, of course.
One side was different than the other, and the other side on the cover looks green, which is the exact color that Two-Face's face was in his first appearance as well.
Yeah, so there you go. And it's not just Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. It's like straight up a shadow villain.
It's straight up the shadow villain. The face came out also earlier than that. I will take a look real quick at what we got on that. But he did show up earlier than that, but I don't think there was any sort of Harvey Dent connection. The lawyer thing, however, does seem to come from... remember I told you about that one character, the Black Bat, named Tony Quinn, who was a district attorney who was blinded by acid. And decided that even though he was blind, he was going to become a vigilante at night and use his other senses to become like a bat.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
A little bit of inspiration for not just Two-Face, but Daredevil there. But yeah, the face showed up in 1938, a year before Batman even showed up.
Okay. So,
in the shadow.
Yeah, they had enough time to copy this.
Yes, and then 1939 was when Tony Quinn was blinded by the acid. So, again, that's... 3 years before Two-Face actually shows up in the comics, so
right.
That's what we got. So sorry, Shadow. Once again, you got ripped off. But Two-Face in this thing does not seem to have there's no mention of him getting scarred at all. So for all we know, he's just called Two-Face because of his costume. But he witnesses Batman twisting the nose of this robot. He's like, he killed Hubert, and he has to track Batmobile.
He killed Hubert.
So Two-Face decides to go into his own car. So this is kind of cool. Two-Face has his own car in this version.
Two-Face Mobile?
Yes. No, it's called the Toof Mobile.
Toof?
Yeah. It's as if you say tooth, but if you're like a little kid who's missing his front teeth. It's the Toof Mobile. And Cecilia, his girlfriend, calls him Toofy the whole time.
Toofy.
But here's what's kind of cool about it. I don't know how practical it is, but it's got two front hoods. So it's like it's a car that can go either way.
Ah, okay.
So like he can be in the driver's seat with his back to Facilia, who's in the other driver's seat facing the other way, and he can either go backwards or forwards. Either Two-Face is driving or Facilia is driving.
That's fun. So I like that. That's
basically the main element of this script that I'm just like, okay, if they put that in the Harlan Ellison script, that would have been perfect.
Matt Reeves, I want you to put the Toothmobile in the next movie.
How does he have this car? And Pattinson's going to be like, it's because of his retarded moral development.
I am awaiting my check in the mail.
Yes. So Facilia is driving, and in the script, she almost hits this old woman. And Two-Face is like, Facilia, goddamn. Well, he doesn't say goddamn it, but he's like,
the name's Facilia, not Felicia.
It's Facilia.
Okay, weird.
It's Cilia. So I'm just like, it's not Felicia because the L would come before.
Yeah, Facilia. Okay.
So Facilia almost hits the old woman, and Two-Face is like, he apologizes to the woman and even gives her money.
Okay.
So this is a little bit of the element of Two-Face can sometimes be a good guy.
Yeah, that makes him a really interesting villain.
But it's just so muddled by like robots and shit. I'm like, okay, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
Anyways, he tries to locate he has a homing beacon on the Batmobile, but Batman sees that Two-Face has a homing beacon on him, so he has a homing beacon scrambler, of course, that directs Two-Face to somewhere else. So Two-Face thinks he's found the Batcave. And he arrives and he's like, I've got it. We're at the Batcave. And then Facilia is like, is it that? And they look, and it's the decoy Batcave is this rat hole in a rock that has a little 4-inch sign that says Batcave on it.
Oh, man.
And Two-Face is like, damn it. And then he gets attacked by a bat over there.
Okay.
In the real Batcave, Batman is examining the robot, and he's like, this is a perfectly normal robot. And
I see nothing wrong here.
Yeah, and Alfred figures out that maybe the robot is normal, but the clothes are certainly unusual. So they analyze the clothes, and they find that it is 50% organic and 50% inorganic.
The Bat computer has told me this.
Yes.
It spit out a little hole-filled paper.
I mean, I don't know. We would have to rewatch a lot of the 66 stuff, but I don't know how much of the detective work was actually done by Batman and how much was actually done by the Bat computer.
Yeah, it's
Batman's random knowledge of shit.
Yeah. I read this in my library.
A place called Tog Furnishings Incorporated, and Batman's like, TF? And Robin's like, Two-Face. So of course,
oh my God.
The initials of the location tie up into the character. So Batman brings up that, of course, Two-Face would hang out at clothing stores because he used to be an actor and he was obsessed with costumes. Again, very true to the comics.
The show was like this, though, right?
It
like
was,
they
yes.
made these crazy connections.
Yeah, especially the shark and the 66 movie where they're just Batman was attacked at sea. Sea for Catwoman, and suddenly that's how Catwoman is involved in this.
Exactly.
We're always greatest detectives here.
The thing is, though, like if you're at a young enough age, I guess maybe that is fun
or inspiring. Yeah,
So
they visit the clothing shop, and it's being manned by Facilia, but they don't know who Facilia is. They just think that she's a random shop woman. And she tries to throw him off that she doesn't know anything about Two-Face, but she can't really help them. She offers them some hats because it's a hat. There's a hat store there, but Batman and Robin leave. But Batman says, "No, this place is definitely suspicious because." And here's the next non-woke thing: a hat shop would never have a female attendant. There is nobody who makes hats who's female. Therefore,
what?
She must not be real, and she's hiding something.
That's so weird. Wait a second. Let's break this apart real quick.
This is in the script.
A hat, a fashion item.
Yes.
That is stereotypically part of, you would say fashion's more associated with women than men.
Yes.
So, and I'm assuming that applied to even 1960s America. So this doesn't make any sense to me. But maybe hat makers were mainly men back in the day.
Hey, Batman's non-wokeness in this script helps him to the next clue on it.
Okay.
He says, Robin's like, did you find the secret clue? And Batman's like, there are no female haberdashers, Robin. And the substitution... Haberdashers, Robin.
Yeah.
And the substitution of a female for a male, and Robin says, is a typical Two-Face maneuver.
Oh, man. This is no... Welcome to 2020.
2020, everybody. Okay,
detective skills won't work anymore, man.
Yeah, exactly. A woman would never do this. So Two-Face is noted... it says he's noted for switching between quoting Shakespeare and quoting Mother Goose. That's weird. It says that his coin in this version, he still flips it, but it either has an angel on one side or a devil on the other, or it has, because he's an actor, the comedy mask for good and the tragedy mask for bad.
Okay.
So that's kind of a cool 60s twist on it.
That's cool.
Batman and Robin show up, and Batman offers his friendship to Two-Face. So this is kind of the whole idea of just like, you're still good in him. I don't know why, though, in this version, because he just used to be an actor, dude. Like, there's no indication of, like, we used to be friends, we used to work together. That's not in this.
Right.
So Two-Face rejects his friendship and reveals that he has a three-phase plan. I don't know why it wasn't a two-phase plan, but he has a three-phase plan.
Missed opportunity, man.
The first is financial chaos.
Missed opportunity.
He unleashes a bunch of robot men then onto the dynamic duo, and, of course, they end up captured, and Two-Face puts them in a death trap once again. In this version... there's two different types in the treatment. The original treatment, Robin is strapped to a sizzling clothes press, and Batman must flip the switch with Robin on it to, I guess, get burned to death. The script has a little bit more clear of a death trap. Both Batman and Robin are strapped and strapped down, and Two-Face plans to use this machine to turn them into his own mindless zombies or robots. And as they close in, the announcer will say, "Will Two-Face triumph? Will these fangs fracture Batman? Will the dynamic duo turn into mindless monsters? Tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel." And then we go into part 2.
Okay.
Called The Counterfeit Counterfoiled. Again, not as good as About Face for Two-Face, but okay, whatever.
That one I will accept.
It's a little better.
This is a part 2 as well, so.
Yeah. So part 2 begins. Batman gets out of the trap in the treatment where it was the sizzling steam press. He allows the steam from the clothing press to moisturize the robots around them. And, of course, the robots short circuit because of the moisture.
Honestly, this is getting better.
And frees Robin, but gives Two-Face some time to escape. In the script, he just asks Two-Face for a glass of water as a last request. Two-Face is like, okay, I guess so. And then Batman accidentally spills the water on the controls and stuff, and it short circuits everything.
Okay.
So, Master of Escape, everybody. Just ask for a glass of water, and you'll be fine, as long as there's robots involved. So Two-Face tries to escape once Batman foils all the different robots, and he starts throwing out counterfeit money so that there's a whole crowd that leaves to try to collect the money. Very similar to Joker giving out the money at the end of 89.
Okay.
Except this is all counterfeit money, so really, like, I don't get why people are like scrounging to get it. But it was originally going to be counterfeit money in the 89 movie. They're going to scratch off the
Really?
The face of Washington, only to find that it's the face of the Joker, and everything that they're collecting is actually Joker money, and they're all going to die.
Cool. That's cool.
That was a cool touch.
That would have been a good reveal.
Yeah,
actually, yeah.
But Two-Face, meanwhile, was watching TV, and that's where Batman decides that he must solve this next part as Bruce Wayne. So Bruce Wayne goes on TV saying that his bank, if you have counterfeit money, you come in and we accept all the money in exchange for, redeemable, like good money and everything,
right.
and we'll collect everything. And Two-Face sees this on TV, and he's happy about this. So in the treatment, he sends Facilia outside because the cops have found them at that hideout. And Facilia distracts the cops and pretends to be a damsel in distress for poor Chief O'Hara. But when Two-Face abandons her in his escape, she rats him out to the police because she's pissed off that he betrayed her. And she rats him out that he has a second hideout. Of course he does. He's Two-Face. A second hideout in Gotham Park. In the script version, Two-Face just uses one of his robots to serve as a decoy and pretend to be him, so that he and Facilia can go off to the other hideout. But it's a similar idea.
Gotham Park kind of like a Central Park in
yes,
New York?
I guess that's the idea. But
okay.
Batman hears about this, but he realizes she did not mean Gotham City Park. She meant Gotham Park City, which is an amusement park.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So they go to the amusement park, and Batman reasons that Two-Face will be in the Hall of Mirrors. And his reason is, think two-facedly. What's the most crowded place, even though you are alone? And Robin says, holy hallucination, the House of Mirrors. So they go to the House of Mirrors, and Batman ends up fighting a robot there and uses a water gun to try to malfunction it. I don't know if that really goes against his no-gun policy, even if it's not a real gun.
A water gun to a robot, I'd say he's in the clear.
But Two-Face manages to capture Robin, and in the treatment, he injects him with a syringe, which might have been too adult for the script, because in the script, he just captures him off screen. But in the treatment, Batman finds the injured Robin, who appears to be sick, and takes him to the Batcave. And the script is a little bit more elaborate, because Batman has another confrontation with Two-Face and attempts to appeal to Two-Face's better side. Two-Face tries to take off with Robin in the Tooth-mobile, and there's a car chase, which ends with the Tooth-mobile supposedly crashing and Batman finding an injured Robin, but no Two-Face. Kind of a strange change there, but I guess that explains why the Tooth-mobile is no more. So he brings Robin.
They were having such a good time in the 60s, man.
Robin, he takes Robin to the Batcave because Robin's feeling sick, and Alfred in the treatment offers pigeon broth, and in the script he offers potato soup, and Robin refuses. Well, no matter what it is, Robin refuses it, and Alfred's like, this is strange. Pigeon broth is Master Dick's favorite food.
He must be a robot.
Yeah. So in the treatment, they test his blood, and they find out he was given not truth serum, but lie serum.
Oh.
So he's always has to lie.
I like that.
Apparently, it's
That's
a Two-Face trick. Yeah. So in the script, Batman gives Dick the antidote, and Dick explains that Two-Face was going to use him as an inside man.
I certainly have a small penis.
It's like, we'll cut that.
No one has to hide it at all.
Yeah, the editor's like, let's not have that take inside the Two-Face script.
The Women's Catholic League loves the size of my penis.
So Dick explains that Two-Face was going to use him as an inside man. The next heist was that he was going to go into the bank where the real money was stashed, and Robin was just going to tell him through the lie serum which one wasn't the actual... which one wasn't the pile
That's
of
true.
legit money.
You could get the truth out anyway,
Yeah.
even if it is a lie serum.
Yeah. And convince the cops that he and Batman were just moving the money around for safekeeping in terms of justifying why he was there in the first place. So Batman calls the police with an idea, and we cut to the bank where Two-Face breaks into the bank, and he encounters Robin, and he asks, I deliberately created all this financial chaos with the counterfeit money so that people would have to exchange it for real money. Which pile is the counterfeit money and which pile is the real money? And so Robin tells him which one it is. And of course, Two-Face does the opposite because he still thinks that Robin's under the influence of the lie serum. So after he does that, Batman, he leaves, and then Batman shows up and reveals to the police, what Two-Face's plan was. In the treatment, Two-Face later on figures out he's got the wrong one, and then he goes back only to end up getting caught. In the script, it's a little different. They try to catch him more in the act of trying to steal it, and that's how he ends up getting captured. And it ends with the possibility of Two-Face's redemption. Two-Face says, "And when I fall like Lucifer, never to hope again. And Batman puts an arm on Two-Face's shoulder and says, "There is always hope, Two-Face, once you have learned to put your best face forward." I don't know if there was a attempted pun there, but
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. This is the last line he says in the script too, right?
Well, then it leads into another scene where Bruce talks to the warden of the prison about Two-Face, and the warden says he's been making excellent progress and has been working on making clothes. I don't think that was really needed. I think they should have just ended it with the whole best face forward thing.
Yeah.
That's how I'm just staying true to what's in the actual thing. But that is,
you know what? It ended okay.
Yeah,
not as good as Ellison, but it was okay.
Well, Ellison is just like, as purists, we're like, yes, this is it. This is how you would do Two-Face at that time. This one is kind of like, I kind of see where they're going with this. It's kind of cool. The Tooth-mobile is classic.
It wouldn't have been too out of step with everything else.
Yeah, no.
In that show. So,
but it definitely would have changed our perception of the character.
Yeah,
absolutely. There would, like, Two-Face would have been associated with robots for a long time if that was his thing in the 66 show.
Right.
A fun fact here as well, on the show Arrow, on an April Fool's prank, they quote unquote leaked the script to an upcoming episode of Arrow, and what it was the Two-Face counterfeit, but with the names changed so that instead of Batman and Robin, it was Arrow and Arsenal, and Captain Lance instead of Commissioner Gordon and everything. So I'll see if I can get a copy of that, but that was kind of funny that they did that. But they clearly knew of the existence of this, and then just used final draft.
The Berlanti verse guys are fucking deep.
Yeah,
they're in the trenches of the DC universe.
Yes, so they knew about this, and they used that, and it got some exposure for the script by Peter Rape. So those were the two different versions of trying to get the Two-Face into the 66 show.
What could have been?
Yes, exactly. I do think we ended up with the best version. In this, I mean, this wouldn't have been William Shatner,
No.
I think that they did a nice job in incorporating other modern elements into it. So
wait. Do you think this is the best version that's been in movies or film or TV?
Of Two-Face?
Yeah.
Maybe not the best version overall, but I'd say the best movie of, if you're trying to go from a character perspective, the best Two-Face movie.
It definitely had the most we're friends, Bruce and I are friends.
Yeah,
like even in Dark Knight, they don't really come across as having any history at all together.
No, they meet for the first time, and that's pretty much it. And if anything, they're like rivals because of the rivals for Rachel's affection.
Yeah, I was thinking about this because I was watching this movie today. It's just like, and our conversations about this, and we always talk deeply about Batman and shit.
Yeah.
But like, I think you're right in the sense that we need like a movie where a whole movie, like maybe Matt Reeves listen to us. The second one that comes out, Two-Face is just Harvey, the whole fucking movie. And he's like the best friend, like they're awesome buddies. Like, wow, Bruce has a friend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the third one, maybe there is no Joker in this trilogy. The third one is a Two-Face movie, and like just have like that heart-wrenching fall from grace that separates him, and there's just so much dramatic tension there.
Absolutely,
it could be so powerful, and if it's just stretched across two movies, two movies,
or
I don't know,
3 potentially.
I'm sure you've thought about this 1,000 times, Ben.
But I wish that's how it was. I wish that the first movie had Harvey as just the friend, and then the second one was the beginning of the fall from grace, potentially ending with the scarring, and then the third one is him in full-on Two-Face mode.
Yeah,
instead we got all of that in one movie. With Dark Knight. Well, I mean, in every single version, Two-Face has always just been, it's like a one-shot deal.
Right.
Batman Forever, Dark Knight, this one, Batman versus Two-Face. Like, sure, Billy D. Williams and Tommy Lee Jones are technically supposed to be in the same continuity, but that's not, there was no emotional impact for that.
So, outside of the Batverse,
yeah,
there is another Two-Face, actually, in a sense. No Country for Old Men. You see that?
Yes, of course.
Like, fucking A, man. That's pretty much Two-Face. And there's a line in the end, and my friend really brought this up to me. I didn't think of this myself, but he's about to kill that girl in the end of that movie, and he flips the coin, and then she says, "Coin don't have no say," and then he says this amazing line.
Yeah.
The coin got here the same way I did.
Yeah.
Because that character is all about destiny.
Yeah.
So destiny's brought him in the coin there. And I I just thought that was fucking incredible. Like, that's such a great line, and I think that they should steal stuff like that for the next Two-Face.
I would love to see a Two-Face scene as tense as him in the with the cashier.
Yeah.
It's like, what do I stand to win? He's like, everything.
And Friendo.
Yeah.
Well, he probably wouldn't say Friendo.
Also, Friendo,
Batman Two-Face probably not so into Destiny. Well, no, he's into Chance.
I think he is. Chance. It's more about Chance. Chance, like he bases his duality on Chance. I've always felt that was the character a little bit more than just like, okay, the Second National Bank, that's where I'm going to rob from. Not the First National Bank, the second one because of twos. I'm just like this. I don't see much emotional resonance to that, as opposed to like, you know, I used to be this upstanding person of justice, but I realized like that only gets me hurt. Yeah. So like now my morality is just based off the flip of a coin. It's just based off a chance because that's the only way that I can survive in this world. And I just think that Two-Face, there's like this untapped potential to turning him as well into this anti-hero type where just like sometimes he helps Batman a lot and other times he doesn't. And the whole time Batman's struggling to get Harvey Dent back. Yeah, and I haven't really seen that in any other movie other than this one, the Batman vs. Two-Face. Right. This is the only one that established them as friends. Yeah, so
that's true.
I agree. I wish that was a factor. It doesn't seem that like Harvey's going to be in this next one at all. Again, we all thought it was going to be Peter Sarsgaard, but then it turns out
we don't need him in every one of them.
Right, but
you'd like for him to be though, huh?
Well, of course, if it's going to be about the early days, especially if this is supposed to be inspired by the Long Halloween. But like I get it if
those are rumors though. We don't know that for sure.
Right, yeah. But I mean if Peter Sarsgaard is playing a DA who is not named Harvey Dent, then I'm just going to assume that whatever happens to his character does not line up with something that would happen to Harvey. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, dude, he could just have a day of shooting, you know. We don't know. We don't know what's going on.
Right, yeah.
Could be a throw. I mean, probably not, but you know, we just have no idea.
Maybe he's just established, and then he gets shot, and then Harvey Dent becomes the DA. It's just one scene. Where it's like, here's how Harvey became DA. His predecessor got killed. All right, now it's Harvey Dent.
Right.
Like, okay, we don't necessarily need that, but
it's exciting to think, like, because I know this industry and this part of the industry to a certain degree. Definitely, Pattinson has had photos taken. He's had at least. I'm going to call it, I have no idea because it's all in London. Yeah. But he's had at least 2 fittings at this point. At least 2, maybe more.
He did describe being in it, but
oh, really?
Yeah, well, he did it for the audition, but I'm not sure if it was a Batman Forever situation.
They wouldn't have it by the audition.
Yeah, but I think it was a Batman Begins situation where he wore a previous suit.
Yeah. No, he's worn the full the Batman suit.
Got it. Okay.
Like that's... Unless this is like shit happens at different paces in England, in the UK, but like, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just such a nerd. I'm going crazy over the fact that he's already worn the suit. I haven't even seen it. Like, I don't know, man.
Well, I look forward to the suit reveal because like my first suit reveal was the Christian Bale one. And that one we already talked about in the Begins episode, but like that one was definitely special. Because of the look of it and just realizing like this is how different this is going to be. And then the Batfleck one was special for me just because it just felt like, oh my God, finally it feels like Batman came to life.
Kevin Smith like ran his mouth and like spilled the beans on some picture that I think Snyder showed him on his phone. Yeah. And I don't know if we ever saw that picture. Because what he described, I don't think we ever saw that. And I was looking for that for like months.
Or he's like on top of a building or something.
Yeah, something like that. And I don't think, because the first one we saw was like Sad Bat in the black and white. Yeah. Which was a cool shot, but it was just wasn't what Kevin Smith talked about.
Right, yeah.
You know, they went a different way.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that it's something that is, I mean, it's going to have to be slimmer than the Affleck one just because of Pattinson's build. But I would love, I mean, the rumors are the Lee Bermejo suit from like stuff like Batman Noel, so I'd be cool with that.
They were saying Noel for Batfleck too. Remember that?
Yeah, that's true too. So I don't know.
The thing is, like, the Noel one's, it's too bulky, especially for Pattinson.
Yeah, it's just,
you know,
I'd say like you adapt it to the actor.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm looking more for like the style of it.
I gotta say, at first I was like, Pattinson's too skinny, but now I'm definitely like, you know what? Kind of sleek, svelte Batman is a nice change from Batfleck.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he does have to be stealthy And
yeah.
like he's supposed to be an acrobat. Like if you look at he's an acrobat. Like if you look at the Bill Finger Batman and everything, how he was originally drawn. I get that it was kind of at the time, but he's not like that super buff with a six-pack. Like he's always fighting guys who are bigger than him. That is it for the different takes on Two-Face in the 66 show. So that is our discussion on Harvey Dent. Of course, we're going to talk about a very different Harvey Dent coming up soon in our Dark Knight deep dive, so stay tuned for that.
Definitely coming.
Deeper into the modern takes on the Two-Face origin. So I just covered the original comic book take in Detective Comics 66, 68, and 80, the Two-Face trilogy. But for Dark Knight, I'm going to be covering stuff like The Long Halloween and its predecessor, the one that Long Halloween actually cribbed from, called The Eye of the Beholder. It's the Two-Face origin that nobody's read, but informs so much on this character. So stay tuned for that.
Oh, that's awesome.
That'll be on the Dark Knight deep dive. So
all right.
to that.
Awesome, everybody. So, yeah, I'm ThunderWolfDrew on Twitter and Instagram. And please join the Shasta Army on our Patreon. It's patreon.com/SuperHousePodcast. And shout out to Kooky Noms, Alicia, Matt Herring. Hopefully I'm not forgetting anybody else. And
I am Ben Juan Ryder on Instagram, as well as head the Superhouse Podcast Instagram on SuperHousePod, as well as Twitter now. We're on Twitter at SuperHousePod on Twitter, where we make our own comments about the different comic book movie news, mostly Batman stuff, but some other nerd stuff. I talked about Doctor Who on there recently, so
nice.
We'll see what happens.
Oh, I wanted to say one more thing. I'm going to plug this again. On your phone, whether you have Droid or iPhone, you go pull out your voice recorder app. You probably already have it. Definitely if you have an iPhone. You record your voice, and then you can finish recording and press the share button and send that to superhousepodcast@gmail.com, and we'll put it on our on another episode, on an upcoming episode. So just for example, things like Superhouse fucking awesome, you guys rock, or you're now listening to Superhouse, or whatever you want. You know, I just think it'd be kind of fun, little fun fan interaction there, and you will be on the show. So yeah, check out your voice recorder app, everybody. And I think that's going to do it for me. Andrew signing off.
Ben signing off.